The question period is of a duration of 30 minutes total, with a maximum 2 questions, 5 minutes per person. Donc, on a une question écrite qui vient de Mme Stanton. Est-ce que vous voulez la lire, M. Vaquero, ou que je la lise?
Non, je peux le lire, merci, M. Patterson. Alors, ça vient de François Stanton. C'est au sujet des circulations des camions sur le chemin Lakeside et Bonneville. Elle demande: la Ville nous avait informé lors d'une séance du Conseil intérieur que suite à une entente avec le ministère des Transports, les camions seraient dorénavant invités à emprunter le chemin Bonneville, la route 215, au lieu du chemin Lakeside, la route 243. Bien que la mise en place de la signalisation relève de la provinciale, l'entente serait conclue il y a de cela quelques mois déjà. Elle note qu'actuellement, la signalisation actuelle dirige toujours les camions sur le chemin Lakeside de 243. Elle demande quand donc cette mesure sera-t-elle concrétisée? Y a-t-il une date de prévue?
En fait, oui, je vous dirais que plusieurs élus sont déçus de la position à date du ministère des Transports. Sans nous aviser, ils ont décidé de reporter ce changement. Et l'explication qu'on a reçue, c'est qu'à Bouton-Ouest, il y a des travaux sur un pont qui vont exiger un détour supplémentaire. Donc, il envoie sur la 243. Donc, nous, ce qu'on a renvoyé comme demande, c'est de dire, écoutez, ouvrez aussi la 215, donc pendant la période des travaux à Bouton-Ouest pour le détour, parce que tous les véhicules qui veulent aller vers Commandeville et ainsi de suite, de les faire passer par le village, c'était exactement ce qu'on ne voulait pas faire en période d'été. On a une accusée réception et on espère qu'ils vont abdiquer prochainement. Et c'est beau pour cette question-là. En parlant des routes, j'ai oublié de mentionner tout à l'heure que 70% des routes de gravier ont reçu l'épandage de la première pour le calcium liquide. So about 70% of roads, the dirt roads, have received the pass of the liquid calcium. Go ahead. Bonjour. Hello.
Hi, Lynn Moore. Firstly, I want to salute you because while waiting, I read a draft document that seeks to get rid of all of these nasty invasive plants. Very happy to hear that. When will this go into effect, if passed?
We're optimistic that it will be adopted, because to be able to give out like whether it's shrubs or other things, we have to have a bylaw to do so. So if I'm not mistaken, this evening we are adopting it tonight.
Oh, good.
I don't know, however, Public Works will be in charge of the distribution, so there'll be a process put in place. So please subscribe to the newsletter or the social media pages of the town, and we will advise the population how they can get the toile, the bâche, the product.
The netting,
yes.
Yeah.
So it should be shortly.
Okay, good. I asked because this is my third visit about poison ivy that comes from city property onto my land. And I was told in previous visits that it would be handled. The former mayor asked the head of public works to deal with it. Months later, I called him and still no action. And I'd like to show you what the situation is. This is what's on my property. And it's come from city land. And as you know, you can't get rid of it unless it's all gone.
Correct.
So I would like...
So just maybe give your address to Mr. Falcaro, and we will follow up, and I will make sure that I'll be copied on the follow-up, and to make sure that we get the proper information to you in the coming days.
Okay, great. Second question has to deal with the work on the ditch, also known as stream, going from Bonneville to the lake. We were told before it started that this would be over by now, and it's just ended at my property, so I have a half-finished project to look on, as do my neighbors who are wondering when and if this is going to be done.
Well, with your address, we'll be able to follow up and we'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
17 Spruce.
You okay? Yeah. Thanks. Patricia Wagner, 110 Fisher's Point. I'd just like to bring my concern to council concerning the level of the lake. It is very high now. And I understand the reasons why it would be nicer to, to keep it high in case it gets warmer in the summer and dries out. And it also helps with the pollution and the algae and that kind of stuff. But it's a little too high right now. And when it does that, and we've had a lot of rainy and windy weather, in case anybody hadn't noticed, it actually is eroding the shoreline. And so it's going under. But yet the town wants us to plant plants and everything else, and they're just taken out into the lake because there has to be a little. I'm not asking for it to go down a lot. Not like when I was brought up and lived there and there was 10 to 12 feet of beaches, but that's when we had algae very thick. So I understand the reasoning, but does the town have any plans to at least diminish it a little bit?
Well, I didn't check today, but over the weekend, as you know, we got huge amounts of water. So there is a limit to how much water we can let out at a time. So that usually the public works that manages the level of the dam aims for the median level.
Okay.
So I'm convinced that they're still aiming for that. And I would hope that in the next few days it'll be able to be adjusted
A bit.
But we'll make sure and get back to you to
Okay.
make sure that the game plan is still in place.
I appreciate it. Just one other question about the organization that was developed in Foster at the community center there and renting it out. I live in Foster. We have not received any information about who is on this committee, what their functions are, what the committee is there to do, and we would really like to know what's going on and not be left out in the cold and find out a long time
It's a very good point. We could at minimum do something in our next newsletter to maybe present the organization.
That would be great. That would be great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very constructive.
Ron Glow, Fisher's Point. First, I'd like to start out by saying thank you very much for the town coming in and actually grading our road. However, as I've mentioned before, you took a shortcut. You graded twice, very little of the gravel, and then came back the next day with a compact, which was fantastic. But because there's no moisture put on that gravel, it really didn't accomplish very much. And unfortunately, after the rain on the weekend, if you come on to Fisher's Point, we got our potholes back already. That's the simple part. The more difficult part is that the town has been grading the road in front of my house a lot, and you graded the road past my house, down deeper, and destroyed my system of drainage that was developed over the last few years. So now I have water in front of my cottage. It's still there today, and it should be raised up a little bit, like about 3-4 inches, and then I have a drainage system at the edge of my driveway, and I'd like to get that reactivated. And then because I have all the water in the area draining down towards my place, we put in a drainage system there that goes to a filtering bed by the lake to filter out sediment from the road, and it'd be great if we can get that reactivated again.
Yeah, well, I got your pictures this afternoon, Mr. Gould. I've passed them on to Public
Yes.
Works, and hopefully we'll be able to do, at least for the drainage into the ditch, get something a little more functional.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also, the party on the here for the beach was fantastic too.
Oh, the family day?
Yeah, that was really good. Well done.
Thank you.
Good evening, Alan Easley, Knowlton. I want to comment on the posts which are on Victoria for the cyclists separating from the motorists. And as a cyclist, partly as a motorist, but certainly as a cyclist, I have very mixed views about those posts. Because as you cycle along strictly between the post and the side, it's very narrow in some parts. It's also where a lot of the stones get thrown into the gutter. There are drains along there as well, and becomes quite clogged with leaves and pine needles and all sorts of other things. Not to mention the fact that it has an opportunity for getting lots of punctures, and I certainly had my first puncture this year. I wonder if it's feasible for you to think about not putting those posts in. I just ask for it to be thought about, because I don't think that they're a great idea, particularly when you have to, also you're going to have to stripe the stripes, so they'll all have to be taken up to do that again. Some of them aren't everywhere along that road as well.
Yeah, so when there's, we receive mixed comments such as yours. Others, residents are loving it because it gives the impression that the road is narrower, so it's slowed down traffic. We work with an organization called Vélo Québec, and we follow their recommendations in terms of the type of road and so on. For sure, there are some maintenance issues that we can better do in terms of picking up the gravel and so on that will make it more likely, but I would think that, so there were discussions, it wasn't just the council that decided to put those in. We'll see this summer how it goes and make adjustments if we have to.
Because it is very difficult to cycle along there. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, as I said, Mr. Easley, we go with the Vélo Québec recommendations, but if we have to make adjustments next year, we will.
Okay, as you cycle eastwards along Victoria, as you come to Maple, the cycle lane disappears.
Yes.
Okay, I accept that. But there's actually a sign there which says that it disappears, but it's way up. And I happened to notice it the other day.
Yes, it's the same at the other end. I find
But it's ludicrously high. You don't see it as a cyclist. So it would be good to bring it much lower.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, there was at Foster, just as you start the cycle path coming south, there used to be a sign up there which said, or warned you about ticks, and that was 2 years ago. The sign is no longer there, and I think it's a good idea to have signs about ticks in this area, because they're quite problematic.
We'll look into it.
But it was there 2 years ago. It disappeared.
Perfect. Thank you.
My name is Peter White, and I live at 349 Lakeside. I would like to ask a question about long-term planning. I was pleased to see that in the budget forecasts, the town is already thinking of 2030, and I'm wondering whether in other areas planning goes that far or even farther. Does the town have any projections for the population increase over the next few years? I'd like to see long-term, beyond 2030, I'd like to see 10 or 15 years if possible. Obviously, these would have to be guesses. And the impact that population increase will have on all aspects of municipal planning. L'aménagement du territoire, I did a little bit of research today and I found it quite interesting. In the entire town of Brome Lake, the number of unités d'évaluation résidentielle is 3,483. Of that number, 732 are worth over $1 million. And those figures do not include non-residential, industrial, agricultural, and forest categories, as well as vacant surface lots. It seems to me, just looking around the town, that there are a number of vacant lots, I'm not sure which category they fall into, that could be called strategic, and that we would not want to see developed without serious consideration. And I'm wondering if the town has perhaps a list of lots that you consider to be strategic for future use, and what the plans are for each of them so that they won't be developed without proper forethought. And of course, this also affects our réseau routier, the traffic control, and most particularly, I'd like to know what our plans are concerning our future water supply, our future sewage system, our access to the lake, and the management of the lake.
You're up to 3 or 4 questions there, Mr. White. Just don't go too far so I can answer the first few.
I'm not expecting you to answer them. I just try to list them.
Very good.
I haven't got to my 5 minutes yet, and there's still a single question. It's all about long-term planning. So if these, my questions will be recorded in the minutes, which I hope they will be, I think that it would be nice to have some answers there. If you would like to try and answer them now, anything you have to say about long-term planning, Mr. Mayor, would be very much welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So regarding the population, the distance, the range that we look at does not go as far as you mentioned, but we will also be looking at when we update the urban plan and the urban rules, the bylaws, all the data and the projections of the development of the population will be looked at. And in terms of infrastructure, water supply, those are all things that we look at as well. In terms of we have a règlement de contrôle d'environnement right now for the downtown core, but we also have about 15 or 18 properties that we have a droit de premier refus. So if someone, the former council, strategically looked at pieces of land that we would want to have a first right of first refusal or a say on how it would be developed, not how it would be developed, if the town would like it to be a public use and so on. And the new urban plan will also take into consideration some of the factors that you brought up as well. So most of what you said will be discussed at length in the next few steps of the urban plan process. Oui, Monsieur le Président, allez-y.
We're looking at data on population. You know that there's lots of discussions, should we have more immigrants or not more immigrants? The data and all that has to be reviewed for the new plan. And it is a concern to have the proper plan for 5, 10, or 15 years. So it is a concern. And but we'll wait till we get to that part. We're still in the first process of doing the downtown core. Soon we're going to have the results of what we got, resumes of the feedback we got from the population. What's the objectives of communications on that?
I would say within the next few days, that information will be put on the website.
So anyway, those questions, thanks for the question. It is, we're very concerned about how it's going. And if you look at all levels of government, everybody's pretty much concerned about what's going to happen to Canada in all the regions in terms of economics and even the aging population that we have is really something that could turn the situation upside down in terms of revenues. So that's about it.
Thank you. Madam Stop, no, we won't do back and forth. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Alicia Southall, Knowlton. Just hoping you could clear up a question about the cost of the Fulford Road project. I asked a question to the town and I got, and I appreciate, a prompt and clear answer. And it talked about the total grant money being 2.2 million and referred to a total cost of 6.9 million. And when I look at the town's website, the little sort of avis or announcement or whatever concerning the Fulford Road project, in fact, it's the first thing that pops up when you do that search, refers to a total investment of 7.9 million. So that's a $1 million difference. So could you explain what generates that difference?
To my recollection, the budgeted amount was 7.5, and when we went to tenders, it was less, but I'll let Monsieur Harel clarify.
Yeah, well, the budget was at 7.9. When we did our first resolution, it was for an expense of 7.9 with the grant that you said at 2.2 and an allocation of $1.5 million. We received bids, and the bids were lower. So now our project is now, the project of 7.9 is now at 6.9.
All right.
So that's the difference between your two.
Thanks for the clarification, but you might want to consider updating the website as well. Thank you.
Yo, Leslie Sayers here, 2018 West-Brome. I have a flooding problem on Iron Hill Road. I contacted the town secretary 3 weeks ago. She was supposed to deliver the message, and as of today, nothing's been done, and I have 5 acres of trees that are being flooded or drowned. So
Did you say there was on Iron Hill Road that the culvert is full? I missed the beginning of your statement.
On Iron Hill Road, yes.
Yeah, the culvert's blocked. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
I have property between King and Iron Hill.
Very good.
It finishes on both streets.
I'll see where they're at with that, and.
I don't know what happened. The town secretary was supposed to contact whoever is responsible, and apparently the message didn't get through.
Oh, the message could have gotten through, they just might be on the list, because with all the rain we got on the weekend, I know the Public Works has been busy, very busy
Oh,
since
okay,
the
you got a
weekend.
lot of other
And
problems.
they have a water break also that they're fixing tonight as well.
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
water line. So I'm sure they did get the message, they're very efficient in terms of the follow-up, but I will ask that someone get back to you and tell you when we're gonna go.
That would be the best idea.
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
thank you, sir.
thank you.
Alors, c'est ce qui va mettre fin à la première période des questions. That will be the end of the first question period. Thank you.